Welcome to the Hockey Writers Chicks and Sticks, a weekly show hosted by some of our best female hockey writers, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From talking hockey with NHL personalities to tackling the latest big issues, our team covers everything hockey and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some Chicks and Sticks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Chicks and Sticks, brought to you by the Hockey Writers. We're celebrating the big 3-0 tonight. My name is Melissa Boyd, and I'm once again joined by my partners in crime, Hannah Garfield and Mariah Stark. Christy is covering the Devils game tonight at Prudential Center, so she is missing out on our last show before Christmas, but that's okay. She sent us good vibes, so we'll get through without her. And as you can see, Mariah is, representing the Christmas spirit tonight, making sure, yes.
The tree is a lot bigger than it looks. It takes up half of this side of the room.
It looks like a fat one.
It looks like a fat one, yeah. If you had, I don't know if you have a cat, but if you did, I'm sure they'd be having a field in there, day in there. So before we get into some hockey topics, just a reminder that if you're enjoying our show, please drop us a like or a comment from wherever you're watching or listening, and do send us in your questions. We're always looking for fun topics to discuss, so if you want us to, send them our way. And as I said, this is our last show before Christmas, so we're going to mix the holiday spirit in a little bit here with some hockey stuff, because as we know, it's been a bit of a tough week, not only in hockey, but I think a little bit everywhere. Unfortunately, COVID is rearing its ugly head again. So we're going to try and lift your spirits and get you ready for the holidays. We'll start by paying tribute to a goaltender who announced his retirement this week, Ben Bishop. Unfortunately, he tried to come back from a knee injury that has been nagging him for quite some time. You have to applaud his effort for trying to come back, but it just didn't happen for him, and he decided to hang them up this week. It was quite an emotional press conference that he gave. If you haven't watched it, do check it out. I guess I wanted us to have the chance to pay tribute to him. So Hannah, what do you remember most about him? What kind of legacy do you think he leaves with the Stars and the Lightning as well, where he started?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben Bishop's one of those guys that I think injuries really limited his career and I think his potential, because I think he's someone that everyone, you hear, you're like, oh yeah, Ben Bishop, like he's great, but then you forget about him. And so that is, kind of an unfortunate thing that injuries, may kind of force him into an early retirement and also kind of hampered his career, but he still made it to the Stanley Cup Finals twice, once with Dallas, once with Tampa. He leaves, but he will be remembered as a good goaltender. I don't think, he'll be the greatest. He's not going to be remembered as one of the greatest goaltenders, but, he was a good guy off the ice, a good guy on the ice. And I think it's an unfortunate part of sports that sometimes people's bodies break down on them. But I wish him the best in retirement. And yeah, that was a very brutal press conference to watch. And I feel bad. He does seem like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah, and you can tell that it wasn't something he wanted to have to do. So must have been a, heart-wrenching decision for him to make. Mariah, what are you going to remember most about him?
His height. I just remember every time the Wild would play, I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to get anything past him? Not that he's a huge, but height and net is just like,
yeah.
Okay. Like I thought when I played, I thought it was hard enough getting past people my height, let alone a person that's like a foot and a half taller than me.
Yeah, isn't he 6'8"?
Yeah.
6'7". So on skates, that much taller.
Yeah.
It's true.
Kind of a lot what Hannah said, the injury, like whenever I think of him, the injuries, I couldn't really think of a lot of not that he's not a great goaltender by any means, he is. I just couldn't think of any
specific
particular things other than just I never heard anything bad about him. and he always seemed very calm. I haven't watched the press conference yet just because I've seen little tidbits. And I don't know if I can handle that right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think just him being a good person, a good guy is what's everyone's gonna remember about him. And unfortunately, his injuries that ended it.
Sometimes it's better to not be like, not see your name around all the time, like, because that just means that you're just kind of a low key, like, sometimes it's better to be out of the press or out of the media, like, just kind of go and do your job and do your thing.
Yeah, I agree. I just remember that every time the Lightning played the Canadiens, he would be lights out. Like, doesn't matter if Tampa was playing well or not, or if they were coming, it was like, oh man, Ben Bishop is in net. We're screwed. Like that. And I just remember that. And someone I read this and I thought it was interesting is that Tampa now has Andrei Vasilevsky and Dallas now has Jake Ottinger, and they both learned under Ben Bishop, and I thought that was also sort of indicative of, as you both mentioned, of the type of person he is, and probably great mentor that he probably was for both those young goalies. But he will be missed for sure. Sucks definitely too that he had to do it in the middle of the season like that. It's not easy. Well, moving on to, we're getting all the kind of sad, depressing topics out of the way here. We had to talk about this because it's been sort of the headlines the last few days. The COVID outbreaks amongst team is really, on the rise and sort of running rampant right now. The Calgary Flames basically have their entire team and support staff in protocol right now. So it doesn't look like they'll be playing until the new year. I know, well, Hannah can speak to this, but the Bruins have positive cases as well. The National Predators have a lot of positive cases. So just like the rest of society, it's running rampant here. And well, actually the Canadiens are playing with no fans tonight at the Bell Center, announced a few hours before the game, because the Quebec government announced new restrictions this evening. So Thursday evening. So yeah, we're still in this pandemic, in case we needed a reminder. But this has also raised a lot of questions about Olympic participation, of course, and going to Beijing. So I guess I wanted to ask you, well, how these outbreaks may impact the season going forward, and also, do you think, I'll start with this, do you think that at this point the NHL players should be going to the Olympics? Mariah, what do you think?
So I want to say this first. I love the Olympics and I have nothing against it, and I really, really want to say yes to this, but I think no, because frankly, with everything going on and with the supposed quarantine rules, I don't know what's permanently set, but I've heard different things of 3 to 5 weeks if they're positive over there. That could be a huge thing for teams. Like, you lose, McDavid, whoever goes over there, and you lose them for possibly a month. I mean,
that's a season. There goes your season.
Especially in February to March. I mean, that's the biggest push right there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm nothing against it. I really wish, but at this time, it's like, it's not a good idea, I don't believe. And is it still up to the players at this point, or are they trying to decide that?
Yeah, it looks like Gary Bettman said, well, we made you guys a promise, so we'll keep that promise. But for now it is, yes. But that could change, obviously.
I mean, I think they should just, it's almost too much pressure to put on the players. I mean, some of them are fine with saying no, but some of them I feel like don't want to disrespect the invitation, I guess. And
that's a fair point.
It's like, maybe they should just make it easy and just say, our players aren't coming. Sorry, but they're not.
Well, they said that, like, it's headed to that. Like, if this keeps up, like, it's going to end up being that, where the NHL says, yeah, sorry, I know we promised, but.
And it's like,
yeah.
I wouldn't blame them. I mean,
yeah.
frankly, it's a risk having the Olympics at all. So, I mean, the fact that the players were considering going at all is something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like there's a whole, we could talk about the Olympics and the topics surrounding, Beijing and China for an entire episode, but we won't do that. Hannah, what do you think? Should they be going?
Oh, this breaks my heart because I love the Olympics, and I was so excited to see NHL players in the Olympics, because honestly, like, again, like, I'm still pretty recent to being a hockey fan. Like, I've actually never seen NHL, like, because I watched some games in 2014, but I didn't really know who the players were. I didn't really know anything.
Did you miss 2010?
You missed 2010. Wow.
I mean, again, casual, like 2010. I'm like 2010. I was like 13. I didn't really care. I wasn't really watching hockey. I wasn't I but again, so like, but I wasn't like invested. So I'm like, now I'm invested. Like, I'd love to see some Olympic hockey. Still bitter like didn't go in 2018, but I think given where things are at, they can't. And it breaks my heart to say that, but I think especially with the recent outbreak, because I think the NHL needs to cancel more games right now, and they need to reassess their protocols and give teams a chance to get healthy. Because I mean, I'm obviously biased because I'm a Bruins fan, but it's not fair that we now have to play our next 6 games in the next 10 days. And Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand aren't going to play, and Jeremy Swayman can't play. I'm like, there's our top goaltender and our top 2 players, like, and it's like, they need to be canceling more games. And I think the pressure of knowing that they have a Olympic break right now is preventing them from doing that. So I think they need to make a decision sooner rather than later, aka in like the next day or 2, and start canceling some more games for COVID.
Well, like they've only canceled like the Flames games up until Saturday, but that they're going to cancel further, more on. And I think actually the Bruins are playing the Habs on Saturday.
Yeah, and quite frankly, it's irresponsible
in Montreal, and it was brought up today, this morning with the Dominique Ducharme, like saying, have you heard anything? Because it sounds like the Bruins don't really want to come to Canada and amid an outbreak, and our federal government isn't really keen on them coming either if there's a active outbreak amongst the team. So we'll see where that goes. But did you guys see the story today? The Predators, their entire coaching staff is in protocol, and they called up coaches from the AHL, which is the first time I've ever seen that.
What a promotion.
And so for this game tonight, but then I can't remember his name, it's escaping me right now, who they had delegated to be the head coach. Well, when he got to Nashville, I guess he tested positive. So he's
at this point, players are going to be coaching themselves.
Yeah, well, pretty much.
Well, players that are healthy.
The Hurricanes got Aho and is it Jarvis?
Yeah, Jarvis.
And then Jarvis, masseuse guy out of Canada. And then it said they were swinging through Minnesota to pick up their other 4 to go home. I'm like, I thought the other 4 left already.
Unreal, because otherwise those 3 or those players wouldn't have been home for Christmas, because they would have had to isolate for 10 days.
Canada's probably like, nope, get them
that's why the Bruins don't want to Montreal. They're like, because if they test positive, like, quite frankly, again, it's irresponsible that like teams are like the Bruins played Calgary over the weekend. They started, Calgary the next day had players on their COVID protocol list. Bruins then had players on their COVID protocol list, and they're still making at that point, like, cut the chain off somewhere. Don't have the Bruins then play Vegas, who's now playing the Devils, and now they're playing again. Like, you gotta cut it somewhere.
That's why I was glad when the Hurricanes showed up. All of a sudden, they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Bye.
Again, the handling, this past week, how they've chosen to handle things has been very irresponsible.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, you know, and it's kind of like, I know they want to play, you know, finish the season and the break. I know, but it's like, like, come on. But actually, this discussion leads me into my next question, which is, what if the NHL is going to insist on playing under these conditions? What can they do to help? Now, people have been sort of clamoring for the taxi squads to come back, but people have to remember that the taxi squads were basically just so that it was easier to call players to your roster without like the travel and stuff. But is there something else or other things that the NHL should be doing if we insist on playing and continuing like this? Hannah, what do you think?
I think somehow they got through a full, like, I mean, not a full season, but they got through a season last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the reason why they were able to be successful goes back to what I was just saying, is that when outbreaks started, they canceled games so that you're limiting contact with other teams, so that's not spreading. Right now, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's every day it's a new team has a major outbreak. It's affecting everything. And I think the NHL needs to go back to their policy of canceling games when COVID outbreaks are happening, and then we'll figure it out, as like we somehow figured it out last season, especially, you know, with like the Canucks missing. Like at one point they missed like two weeks of games, and they still finished out the season. Like, it's not ideal, but I think it's what needs to be done.
Well, and now that there is that break in February where it looks like it's not going to be used ultimately, you know, there is that buffer, I guess. So yeah, I agree. Mariah, what do you think?
I think that it's so hard to answer this because honestly, like, not to defend the NHL in any way, because I do think they need to obviously get a handle on this. I think the reason they're still playing some of these games is at the beginning of the season, they'd have one or two guys go into protocols. They'd be the only guys in protocol. Granted, we don't know the situation behind it. They could have been exposure and they were just put in. It could have been anything, but it didn't lead down the road to anything. So I think that's part of the reason they're still playing some of these games, is they didn't want to rush to cancel it for it to be not an outbreak. I mean, granted, you'd want to err on the side of caution, obviously, but I think that's part of the reason they didn't rush to do this. Now that they're seeing it, they should be obviously considering, like, I mean, the Wild Saturday's game, Florida's got like 7 players now, and it's like, okay, you guys need to decide what's going to happen here. But I don't know, I think they need to figure out a way to bring players up or something. If they're going to keep the games going, they have to figure out ways for them to not necessarily play short, because I think that the Hurricanes, I think, are still gonna play, and they're playing with like 16 players. And I get the cap space and everything, but this is a whole different situation. This isn't them purposely doing this. They're literally getting hit unpredictably. So I think there should be a little
and these players, with the exception of Tyler Bertuzzi, are all double vaccinated. So, and a lot of them have their booster shot. So it's not, you know, it's not on them.
Right. You know? So, and it's like, so I don't know. Frankly, they should probably just say they're not going to the Olympics and be like, look, we've got to use these weeks to get our season back in order, because they can't be going into July and August either.
No, because
it's a mess that I'm glad I'm not in charge of.
No, it's for sure. Definitely. But I'm glad you brought up the salary cap, because that was going to be my point. I think at this point, it's like, look, we're in a, you know, once in a lifetime situation here. Can we just do away with the cap here for a little while to help these teams out? Because then the question becomes about competitive advantage too. These teams are fighting for playoff spots and valuable points in the standings. And if they're playing shorthanded while the other team got to rest at home for 2 days, it's, it's not exactly optimal.
Yeah, and it's like the salary cap thing, it's not like they're adding, like they're making a super team. It's literally they're just
not pulling a Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're not making a team of Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Patrick. Like they're not making a super team here. They're literally pulling up guys from the AHL, like just let them field a full team.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, let these guys have a shot. It's not their fault stuff's going on, and if they got to be called up, let them be called up.
Yeah, totally. So we'll see where the NHL goes in the coming days, but the heat is definitely on, because it feels like every time I refresh Twitter or something, like another player is going into COVID protocol, and you're like, oh my gosh. So, okay, let's switch gears here. Let's have a little bit of fun, Christmas fun. We got to get into the spirit. So I wanted us to make some wish lists for Christmas. So we'll start with our own teams and what you hope that Santa is going to bring them next week for Christmas. Mariah, what would you like the Minnesota Wild to get?
Ooh, there's so many things I could ask for, but and I will say, I'm gonna do a plug. I am gonna have an article out on this soon. So, but anyway,
go read it.
Yeah.
Go Mariah.
My first is them staying healthy. I mean, they've been fortunate. They've only had a few injuries that have been pretty short-lived. So I'm hoping that stays a thing, because playing without Brodin the last couple games was hard. Their second one that they've really bugged me the last few games with is they need to stay disciplined and stay out of the penalty box. So I would wish to keep a level head and not throw pucks over the glass as many times as they have this last week. Oh, that one made me angry.
Yeah, that's an awful penalty.
I know, and they did it twice in one game, and then the next game I'm like, did you not learn?
Yeah, it's literally the one that you just like, what, the nails on chalkboard, that's kind of like when that happens, you're like,
like, just don't even throw it, just guide it. And my third would be they've had some really, despite the stats surrounding them other than Talbot recently, the strong goaltending they've had. Their goals against isn't the greatest, but they've still been managing to come out with the wins. So I would hope that can continue.
Good list. I like it. Santa, I hope you're listening. I think I know what's on Hannah's wish list for the Bruins, but we'll go. What do you have?
I was gonna say COVID, but I feel like I've already talked about that too much, so I'm scratching that from the list. So one, I really like the Bruins to figure out what is becoming a big goalie conundrum for them, and I'd like them to figure it out quickly and as painlessly as possible. I'm gonna plug my own article because I also wrote about the goaltending situation this week. But yeah, with it's inevitable that Rask is going to return to the Bruins. Like I don't see him playing anywhere else. I don't think the Bruins are so secure in their goaltending that they can say no to him. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a little messy because Ullmark's been playing well, and he also has a 4-year contract, which I think everyone kind of scratched their head at over the summer, and is proving to be as head scratchable as people expected. And Swayman's a rookie. He's not ready. I don't think he's ready to be full-time, like complete starter, but I think he's great in a tandem, and I think he deserves to be in a tandem with Rask. But you also don't want to send him down to Providence if it's going to limit his, opportunities and his growth. So it's hopefully it gets sorted out without things getting ugly, because it really very well could. 2, my other one, I was really hoping for, if we were the Bruins need to start giving some other players a look because they really need some changes, especially on offense. So I was really looking forward to Jack Stanika and Oscar Steen getting an opportunity in these next couple of games. But Oscar Steen is now in COVID protocol. So like, what's the Bruins roster at the moment? I don't know. And 3, my other wish is I want Charlie McAvoy to be a Norris Trophy finalist. I think he deserves it. I thought he deserved it last season, and I really think he deserves it this season. Respect for Charlie McAvoy.
I agree. I respect Charlie McAvoy. So just say.
Thank you, Mel. That's all I want. Is Mel's respect for my favorite players.
As a Habs fan, no less, right? So
yeah.
That's why it matters.
That's right. Well, for the Canadiens, the wish list is long. So we'll go with the obvious ones. A few more wins would be nice. Even though I know everyone's all aboard the tank train, which we're all for. It'll be nice to have a lottery pick in the coming draft, but they're currently on a 7-game losing streak, and like it's no fun. Like they have played 30 games and they have to play 52 more, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to survive. That's right. So a few more wins would be nice. And in the midst of all this, I hope that the team's young players get a lot of ice time and opportunity to show what they have to help, make decisions for the future. So Cole Caulfield, Ryan Poehling, Caden Primo, hopefully they get a lot of good looks here. And anxious for the new GM to come in. That'll be I know it's coming, so I won't wish for it. New front office, hopefully with a woman in the front office. That's a good wish for me. Fingers crossed that it'll happen. Maybe not the GM, but another position. And lastly, of course, I have to say, my wish is that Carey Price comes back to the Canadiens and plays in the new year. Hopefully in front of fans, because as I mentioned at the top, where they're currently playing with no fans. So hopefully by the time he gets back, there will be fans back in the building. Okay, so those are our respective teams. If you had one wish for the NHL and the league as a whole, what would you wish for 2022? Mariah, we'll start with you.
It's gonna be an obvious one. No more COVID outbreaks.
Yeah, this is no fun. This is it's just bringing back so many bad memories, from when they canceled the season the last time, and you're just like, oh no, not again. Mm-hmm. Hannah, what about you?
I think, based off of what I talked about on the show a lot, I don't think this is a surprise, but I want changes with, coaches, GMs. I feel like for some reason this past season has really, like, my opinion of the NHL itself has really soured. And I think, I love hockey and I love the players and I love watching the sport, but I think the powers behind it are really starting to get on my nerves, and I want some new people involved, and I want to see. I saw a rumor today that they're all like talking about Mike Babcock coming back to coaching, and I'm like,
yeah,
do we need to give Mike Babcock another coaching job? Like he had his run. He didn't leave on good terms. Like it sounds like he was an asshole. Like, why does he get another opportunity when there's probably somebody out there who's not an asshole, who's way more deserving, and would actually bring something new to the league? And I would really, I get that, like, sometimes, like, there are, a coach that was fired and they get a new opportunity, a new place, and it's the right fit at the right time, and that's great. But I also think that, there's an opportunity for a woman to be a GM in the NHL, or to be an assistant coach, at least an assistant coach or something. Like there's just, I really in 2022 would really like to just see something new happen, something exciting, and not the same tired things same tired people get filtered in and out of jobs, same shithole of a player safety department. Like I think in general, I'm just like, let's switch some things up and make some real positive changes in the league.
That's I'm so good. I feel like I shouldn't even answer because I feel like we should just end the show on that. And even in our, Christmas upbeat episode, Hannah is like, no, this is bothering me. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I completely agree. I think for a lot of us, our relationship has changed with the NHL. I agree. I feel the same way. It's not fun right now for a lot of reasons. And change would be really nice. And it's funny, like, the news came out that the Canadiens were considering three female candidates for their GM position. And it was like this revolutionary, like, oh my God thing. And you're like, man, they're just being considered.
Just the consideration is a revolutionary idea.
On the list, like, but then of course you have the bozos on the other side. It was like, well, how's a woman going to be able to run a men's hockey team? And you're like, oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so we're in 2021, and this is
hockey is fun. Right. The NHL should reflect that.
Yes. Well, my wish was actually going to be, we said fun, was going to be like, in light of Trevor Zegras' and Sonny Milano's awesome goal with the Ducks, it made me think, like, that's what I want to see more of, like the young players sort of pushing the boundaries and getting John Tortorella like mad at the clouds and stuff like that. It's something that the game needs, like, so much. And you've seen so many people, like young kids, even Canada's women's team, they were practicing the same, they were doing the same thing. And it's just, that's what the NHL needs to stay relevant and stay, competitive with the other major leagues. So yeah, more young players doing awesome things would be cool.
There, that's a positive note to end on.
See, there you go. No, but I'm glad you brought that up, Hannah, because it is something that needs to change, and very quickly. So hopefully, Santa, you heard us, I hope. We've been really good this year, so,
No, not me. I just swore again.
Yes, but it's not a Chicks and Sticks episode if you don't swear. So there you go. It's done. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. As I mentioned on the top of the show, this is our last show before Christmas. We'll be off next week. So we wanted to wish all of your families and your friends a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Please be safe. I know we're all sick and tired of this, but please be safe and limit your contacts, and but please do enjoy the holidays. Do what you can and get some rest, and we'll be back with you in January, or actually maybe the end of December even. So we look forward to seeing you. Thanks as always for all your support throughout the year. We have so much fun bringing the show to you every week. I know I speak for Hannah and Mariah when I say that. And if you want more hockey stuff, please go to the Hockey Writers, because we have it all for you. Social media, follow us on social, check out our website for all our great articles. Make sure that you're signed up to our newsletter, morningskate.io. There's great stuff in there every day. 5 days a week, it comes to your inbox. So much fun. We'll see you next week. Take care. We'll see you after the holidays. Take care.